But thank you guys for attending. This is as you saw in the email that I sent out, we're rebooting our DCS Consortium, which some of you have been in the past, most notably with Perfect Video Conferencing, and some have not. So as Randy said, it's a mix of old and new. Basically, the high-level view of the consortium is to provide a forum where like-minded companies can get together to help generate revenue and generate leads for each company, while also providing goods and services that they offer to each other at same rates, discounted rates, just depends on the situation. But really, it's to bring people together to generate revenue and generate leads, because we're all not major corporations here. Google declined my invitation to come, as did some of the other larger companies. So we're all here to learn about each other, share what we do, and grow our businesses. To that end, let me just do a brief introduction. I'm Jeff Goldstein. For those who don't know me, I'm the Vice President of Sales at DCS. I've been here almost 4 years now, and this is my first go around and kind of leading the consortium group. For those of you who have been with us in the past, the consortium was really started at Perfect Video Conferencing, which Randy was the owner of Perfect Video Conferencing, and we merged with them, and they're about 2 years ago now. And Perfect Video Conferencing is what they said. They were from the AV world. So we have a lot of folks from the AV side of things, but we're also bringing in new folks from our new verticals, which is most notably digital signage and kiosks. So we have some folks here who do digital signage software, digital signage installation, and kiosks for the same thing as well. So to that end, I'm Craig and/or Randy. Would you guys like to expound on the consortium at all? And before we can go around and each person. We'll like each person to maybe introduce themselves for a bit and give a high-level overview of your company. And then we can also turn it over, and Mehdi, who is on the call, has created a SharePoint page, and we can dig into that a little bit more as well. Yeah. But yeah, Randy, go right ahead.
Sure. And I'll bury the lead a little bit with that SharePoint thing. It is something that we know will be easier than more meetings. We historically met as a consortium, not only to shoot the shit a little bit about trends we saw in the industry, but like things we needed to figure out. So this was a group of people who could come together, especially as the video conferencing space was changing and being quite disrupted. We'd go to trade shows, we'd get back together and say, oh, what about this new connector, this new thing? How are you solving for that when you see it out in the field? So it was also a troubleshooting environment. And then when we needed to climb a ladder in Chicago and I wasn't flying there, I would hire someone from the consortium. So it's about the trusted partnerships who can represent your brands well. That was the other piece to me for it. So excitement loves company and misery loves company. So that was part of the, let's pull this group together so that we can find someone we can trust with our brands out in other markets. We did mostly stay within the AV and video conferencing lane. We got to our best, and there was about $20 million of revenue shared between consortium partners. We got to our best when we had an electrician in the room and then a restaurant programmer in the room. And so we're able to, and then an architect in the room. We're able to share across disciplines. And 2 people, 3 people now in the room enjoyed some of that revenue share. Kale, Takal, and Robert were part of the early stages when we were at our most successful. So yeah, I'm glad, Jeff, that you're taking some ownership of rebooting it. For me, it's been a good sounding board. And so I don't want to lose that access. Is this group as trusted partners that talk to each other without any ego about what things could be exciting or frustrating in this industry. So yeah, thanks for
Randy, can you touch on when it was clicking on all cylinders, what was going right? And when it wasn't clicking on all cylinders, what was going wrong?
Sure, and I want to make sure I leave room for everyone else who put a timer on me, Jeff. I appreciate that. So we went and ebbed and flowed with industry trends too. So at our best, there was a Tandem Consortium that Lifesize ran their global deployment program, their GDP. And so at its best, you had to behave by certain standards in order to be part of this Lifesize global deployment program. And we would get pull-through business across the globe. So a European company wanted to install in the Bay Area, they would call me to call instead of calling some rando from somewhere. So it was this trusted ecosystem. Right? And so that's when it was at its best. At its worst, we were trying to be overcomplicated. The industry was struggling. Zoom came out, and everyone was like, "What the hell is Zoom?" And then now everyone's like, shifted to Zoom. In the early stages when Zoom came out, or video, the USB market, that was pretty tough for all of us because we're all traditional AV partners that had screws and VGA connections going into things, and that transition was pretty difficult for us. So yeah, but it has been a problem-solving organization. When we've thought outside of that box too much, then I think it's gotten too cumbersome.
Yeah. And from what we expect of everybody in here, I anticipate maybe a meeting once a month that we'd like people to attend. But the new thing is the SharePoint document, which is going to be a living, breathing document that you all have access to and can upload new information, maybe some new specials you're doing, but also get in contact one-on-one with people within the consortium.
Yeah, we didn't. We entertained in the past some, because there are 3 very large AV consortiums that are formal and membership based and pay to play and fee based. So there are more structured certification AV organizations, and we have no intention of being that because we could all just go join those, right? But they're crowded and you don't really get much business. This is a consortium of the willing. And so the other thing, Jeff, that we did is we had kind of 2 tiers. People who wanted to stay in touch with us, and then the other group of people who would actually share business with each other. So again, Kale and Robert and Takal have been active part of all right, we're on the inside and we trust each other. So I think that's part of today's meeting too, is that, yeah, we want you to know about the consortium, but there's no obligation to show up. But if you do show up, let's make sure that we're interested in each other's business and helping each other out.
Right.
And you can choose either lane. Like, we're going to maintain the integrity of the SharePoint location. Very practically speaking, if a market rate for a person in Chicago is $150, but you need a consortium partner, you can buy that person for $95 and then sell it to your customer for $150. It's about margin stacking and enablement across projects so that your brand gets protected. That's really the brass tacks of some of this, is making sure we can enable each other's business.
Right. Before we go around and do some brief introductions and learn about anyone, does anyone have any questions right now about anything so far? We got a few folks from DCS here as well, Craig and Gary, who are on the call, and Mehdi as well. They can introduce themselves as we go around the room. But why don't we start off then and do some introductions and give us a high level on your company, what you do, what your location is, and we'll go from there. Ryan Cook, why don't we start off with you?
Yeah, hey everybody. My name is Ryan Cook. I own and operate Novus AV. I'm out of the Portland metro area in Oregon, so Pacific Northwest. I cover pretty much all of Oregon for low voltage installation, primarily though service and support. That's kind of what I do. But I'm also a Crestron, Extron, QSys programmer in that world, BiAmp and all that. So can really get into things as well. But I've got the Oregon low voltage, they call it the LEA license here. So I can do full installations in the state of Oregon. Working on the Washington license. So for now, I can go into Washington as a service and support type entity only, but I can cover that area. So previously to Novus AV, I was in charge of a service and support department for Delta AV in my region. I founded and chaired the PSNI Global Alliance Service Committee and led that for a while. So I'm familiar with kind of the consortium style of working with other companies across the globe. I was also part of the Global Deployment Committee. So whether it's projects or service, that's kind of where I cover a wide range of things.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Ryan. Christina, go right ahead.
Thanks, Jeff. My name's Christina Sawmiller. I work for KeyAware. I've been here for about 18 years now. We are located in Pennsylvania, in York, Pennsylvania. And if you've never heard of KeyAware, it's a security system software that locks down your desktop or your operating system so that the end user is only able to access specifically what you allow them to access on a handheld device or a kiosk. So when the end user comes up to that tablet or that kiosk, they won't know that KeyAware is running on it. It'll be whatever you've configured it, whether that be a website or an application. We've recently been acquired by Dynatouch, which is a part of the Harris Corporation. So we're going through a lot of changes right now.
Yes.
We're going on this will be our fourth week since we've been acquired. So I feel like it's a whole new world now of just great things, obviously, but a lot to learn. Business is definitely different, but in a good way. So I'm just trying to meet contacts, hardware providers, things like that. And I feel like one of our struggles with KeyAware is getting people to realize that they need us. So I'm just trying to talk to as many people as possible to get that word out there. So
Yeah, fantastic. And Dynatouch, just so you know, is a company that specializes. One of the main things is kiosk software applications,
yes,
self-service applications, whether it's healthcare, retail, whatever vertical you want to be in. They're a very large player in self-service applications. So
yeah, they're our missing piece of the puzzle. So
right.
Hopefully between the two of us,
You're
we'll
a missing
be able
piece
to.
of their puzzle, Chris.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Yeah, and for those of
Thank you
us
for
that are
that.
legacy Zoom installers, KeyAware does for us on all devices is what Zoom attempts to do to iPads. Turn it into that guided access thing that
Yes.
occasionally works.
Great, thank you. Takal, go right ahead.
Wasn't expecting it this time. My name is Takal Guadamus. I'm owner of RGB Integration. We do audio and video. We're basically labor. So if you need a full installation as far as like a small conference room, we do those. Our sweet spots are we do 40 to 50 to 60 conference rooms rollouts. So if a building will come out, they need a bunch installed, we'll do that. Regular stuff too, digital signage, network infrastructure. My guys, we have a small crew of about 7 to 8 guys. We're very skilled. We're very big in quality, not quantity. We really, really want to make sure that each job is done excellent. And that's we're located in Northern California, and that's where the base of most of our work is. We'll travel once in a while, but that's generally where we're at. I kind of wanted to tack on to what Randy was saying earlier, as far as like when we were at our best. I think for me as a business aspect, so anyone in my personal life will know I hate meetings. I hate them. Whenever I have to go in companies, I'm always like, ugh, did that really need to be done? I found this consortium. Initially, I was okay. Who's this Randy guy? Why does he always have these jokes? Like, what's going on? I found as a business they were quick. And they kept us honest in the sense of what was going on. I think for me, far too often I get stuck in my own little world, trying to make the day-to-day. And when I would go to these consortiums, I'm like, oh yeah, there's a whole other business outside of just what I'm looking at right this second. So, as much as it hurts my soul to say, I kind of am liking you guys saying once a month. In general, that it really helped keep things in perspective. It really, really, as a business owner, talking to other business owners, how do you guys do this? Just the common questions. It's a little strange to ask someone that you don't have a day-to-day normal working relationship. How should I be running things in my business differently? I felt much more comfortable talking to other owners. Just, oh, by the way, I've come across this problem. How do you guys address it? So for me, I'm very excited to see this starting up again. I am very excited to hear once a month, even though that's typically not my MO. I know for me personally, I'll get a lot out of that. So I look forward to working with all of you guys in the future, though.
Great, thanks. That was really good insight too. Appreciate it, Takal. That was awesome.
Yeah, of course.
Troy, why don't you go ahead?
Let me take myself off mute. I have two French bulldogs that keep barking in the background, so I apologize ahead of time. So thanks for the invite. Actually, my introduction to this was through Randy yesterday. We did a project for a common customer, and I think he liked what I said, so he said, "Oh, maybe you should join this group." I'm one of the co-founders of Axiotech Solutions here in Dallas, Texas. Um, we're a little bit different in that I personally started in the AV world. My partner started in the IT world. We worked together and brought together to those two businesses to Axiotech. So we're actually an IT MSP. We have about 200 customers, from 5-person companies to 2,000-person companies. So we do all their IT support, requisition, things like that. We own our own data centers. We have 3 across the country. And then we have a low voltage team. And I heard one gentleman mention Oregon and Washington. I absolutely need you immediately. So we do a lot of dock in a box type construction, low voltage work for a nationwide dental firm, veterinary firm, couple of dental firms and veterinary firms that are kind of the Starbucks of dental and vet. So we do, I have 40 guys who travel nationwide. I have a group in Houston, Austin, Florida, Georgia, and Colorado, and one in Ohio. But I need outside those areas like Oregon and Washington as well. I don't do anything on the residential side. So all my stuff is commercial work, predominantly senior living facilities and MDUs and things like that. I don't do any conference rooms. So I'd love to pull from you guys. I think Takal, you just mentioned multi-conference room build-outs. I absolutely need help with some of that. We have 2 40-story buildings we're working on in Tulsa. I don't know the first thing about conference rooms, to be honest with you. And we also do life safety. I have a life safety company, so sprinkler, fire, mostly managed service, right? I don't want to build out fire and sprinkler and those types of systems, but I love maintaining them. I think the market's really missing that, is those companies that'll come in and actually support it after they build it. So that's another thing that we do, life safety.
Well, fantastic, Troy. Thanks for joining last minute. And looks like we got a little business going here. That's awesome.
Yeah,
love to see
thank
that.
You.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. All right, great. Let's move over. Kale, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, Kale Canoyer. I work for Global Interactive Solutions. But we're celebrating our 28th year in business, headquartered out of basically the Atlanta metro area with feet on the ground in New Jersey, Ohio, Florida, and I'm not too far from Ryan. I'm in Boise, Idaho. We're not your typical AV company that we're going to go bid on the local community college's auditorium that they're opening up. But, if that same college wanted to do conference rooms, hybrid learning rooms, stuff like that, we're basically AV integration in and around unified communications. One of the first partners Zoom ever signed a direct contract with for reselling their licensing back in early 2014, Zoom Room certified integrator. I would say it's pretty easy, 400 or 500 Zoom rooms that we support and have installed across the world. Zoom Phone resellers, contact center reseller. All sounds real sexy, but we're small and nimble. We pretty much number in and around 10 to 12 employees during the year, just depending on how things are going. We do parachute our own team into 95% of our installs for our customers, and that is pretty much worldwide. Just because we kind of figured out nobody really cares about our customers more than we do. That being said, we have used Takal's installers in the past. Randy's helped us out in the past. We literally do work. We do have customers global. I mean, the word in the name actually means something. Trying to think if I'm missing anything. I guess going back to the heyday of the consortium, the only thing that I will add to what's already been said is it's a great sounding board. It's a great avenue to talk shop when you don't necessarily get to do that every day. And then on top of that, have a list of resources that can supplement what you can't do. All of this being part of the consortium is, here's the opportunity, but don't have expectations that all of a sudden you're going to get free business. It's just, hey, here's the resources, pull from it as you need. And if you do business with somebody, that doesn't necessarily mean you should expect business back from them. It's just the way we always have worked. So that's it.
Thanks, Cale. Appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, he brings up a great point. I mean, we all have quivers, and we're just adding more quivers into our thing. So it's definitely why we're all here. Moving on, Josh, my friend from Lucent HD. Go right ahead.
Yeah, hi guys. I'm Josh Goldaddy with Lucent HD. So we specialize in like large LED display integration. We're based out of Grand Forks, North Dakota, but we have a couple satellite offices, one in LA and one actually in Dallas, Texas. We also do kind of like RGB lighting as well, so kind of your architectural lighting. We do a lot of sales in that area. We actually did like Reunion Tower, if you're familiar with that, in Dallas. It's one of our projects. But and then as far as LED displays, we work a lot in like stadiums, large venues. We did the Vancouver Canucks Center hung last year. We did the Houston Rockets install last year as well for some of their stuff, and we're doing projects in LA and Miami and kind of all over the place. So I'm excited that Jeff was able to bring me into this, because we're actually working on a project with him in Atlanta. We're working with him to bring some kiosks into it, but I guess our big thing is we look at ourselves as kind of the integrator, the turnkey solution provider for our clients. So a lot of that's bringing, all the resources in from permitting, engineering, designing, all the way through construction management, installation, fabrication, and then all the way out to, even service and warranty. We do, rely on our network of subcontractors and people that we've created throughout the U.S. to help us a lot with installations, low voltage, things like that. So very exciting to hear, people in these areas that can help us with things like that, as far as low voltage and even conference rooms we get pulled into sometimes. And some of that stuff, is stuff that we like to outsource. Yeah, exciting.
Perfect. Yeah, great. Thank you. Robert, go right ahead. You're on mute.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, I think I muted myself again. Oh, can you hear me okay?
Yep, can hear you fine.
Excellent. Hello, everybody.
And I put your URL in there for us, Robert. I got you. I beat you to it, sir.
Thank you. So I'm Robert. My company's Crawford Integrated Technologies. We're out of the San Francisco Bay Area. And we'll cover the most of Northern California and down to probably Monterey with our existing in-house techs. And then beyond that, we'll use a partner network from the consortium and elsewhere to cover things nationally. We're about the size of, I'd say, Cale's company, 10, 12 people, combination of technicians, project managers, office admin. We used to have in-house programming, but since then, a couple of those guys moved away to other companies. And so I've found more success right now just sort of outsourcing that. So I'm always looking for programmers that we can, help us remotely commission systems or do system design, things like that. So, definitely some options for some networking there. We do mostly audio video, a lot of network infrastructure as well. The company was founded actually a long time ago doing a satellite TV and things like that. So we do a lot of direct TV, a lot of dish network, all commercial application. Might be some opportunities to help, I think Tony with MDU properties, if he's looking to get into the TV side of that, because that's one of the things that we do really, really well. So a lot of conference rooms. We do a lot of QSys, Extron, Logitech right now. So yeah, that's about us. And again, we're always looking we keep a stock of in-house techs to kind of help us mobilize quickly and do things. But we do use a lot of partner companies too. And I noticed that that's one of like the strengths of being a part of the consortium is I think Kale breached on this as well, but it's nice to have a group of people like this because it kind of gives you the confidence to say yes to client requests, basically, any size, anywhere, anytime, just by, tapping your network of people and the price being right with the customer, right? So you can always say yes and then just set a price to it and they can say yes or no, but at least you've got the ability to, field the request no matter what it is, where it is. So I
Robert, that's a
appreciate
really
that
good
about the
point. I mean, that was
consortium.
one of the reasons why Mike and I started this, is that we wanted to go up against the Ford AVs and the AVI SPLs, because they didn't want some of the mid-sized jobs we all thrive on, right? So clients didn't know they didn't have to use the large organizations. They could use, Dave's computer around the corner because we could say yes, because we could enable through partners. So thanks for remembering that point. It has been one of my competitive advantages to be able to say, sure, I'll figure it out. Right?
Yeah,
While
exactly.
also being conscious of
Say
margin
yes and figure it
stacking.
out later.
Yeah, and we use it by being conscious of margin stacking though, because we don't want to price ourselves out. So we work with each other to make sure the price is good.
Yeah, Jeff, the other thing that's happened is that everyone, as part of the consortium, you sign a job, you do the job. You screw up the job, you fix it. It's not the owner of the job's problem. So if I blow it and Takal has hired me to do something and it's my fault, I'm going to eat it. Just on the principle of being able to come into this meeting the next month and show up and be able to show my face without being shamed, right? And Robert and Takal and Kale, we've all done that same thing in the legacy consortium. You suit up, you show up, you do the job you promised, right?
I thought part of this consortium was anything that goes wrong at all, it's always your fault. Isn't that
Right.
the way we're doing it?
Yours,
Yeah.
yours is royal.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's one of the good things about it. You can always just blame Randy if something goes wrong.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Thanks again, Robert, for that. Ivy from 22 Miles. Go right ahead. Unmute.
Good day, everyone. I'm Ivy. I'm from 22 Miles. I guess I come in just fit into the last piece of the puzzle. We're the digital signage content management software company. And thank you for the invite. This is great. I mean, honestly, we're just in that portion of the software, in particular, provide the solution of digital. Anything digital, whether it's interactive, whether wayfinding, that's our job. But installation hardware, we're very partner oriented. That's why, we've been partnered with DCS with a couple of the good projects together. And thank you for inviting us. Randy especially mentioned, I heard a couple of the gentlemen talk about conference room. We just recently certified with Microsoft Team. We can do an Outlook plugin. And then very special is that we also can do MTR takeover. In other words, that for certain of the conferencing room, if you wanted to place the digital signage, that's what we've been doing. And obviously that the software is going to be a global. So we already have probably 22,000 of the screen is running global. Just like everybody, we cover all the vertical market and specialize in, the top 3 market is higher education, healthcare, and hospitality. That doesn't mean that we don't have, the others. Retail is the one is, we starting to put in a lot, especially the outdoor. And thanks to Jeff, really great that, can work with DCS with this outdoor things, the kiosk. So I'm glad I'm in this community. If I particularly cover the Texas Southwest, area. I don't know why. We're based out of Atlanta. They put me in Texas. I'm
Same
probably
here, Ivy.
It's your Texas
I'm in Atlanta
accent.
and I
That's
deal
what
with
got 'em.
Texas all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I just gave up Denver, and I say, since I don't want it to be like in sauna, okay, to be in cold for a couple of days and then jump into Texas in the hot air again. So, and obviously we have many of the remote sales covered everywhere, and we're very partner oriented. And feel free that we can chit chat, and there's some area that definitely hope that we can work together. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Ivy. And Ruben, why don't you go right ahead?
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm with a company called Blue Pisces Consulting. Ruben Cortez, full name, LA area. Our expertise is primarily project management, mostly around IT and operations, development, custom apps. We have a big presence at Disney Studio. And while I was there during the COVID, right before COVID, they were upgrading a lot of their conference rooms and their review spaces, which is big screens and audio and all that kind of stuff. We also have a really good relationship with another MSP out of the LA area, and that's how I met Randy. And we have a client who needed an upgrade of their conference room. Did the typical research, found Randy, you guys stuck out, made the connection, got the deal, everything's going well there. Also pulled him into another partner in Palo Alto, actually a customer, a potential bigger project. So what we found out in my career of doing these kinds of projects with builds and AV is you need to have an AV expert to do this kind of stuff. You can't just bring a low voltage vendor in to build conference rooms or build anything like that. It doesn't work. They don't have the expertise. The equipment is very specialized. There's a lot of components. You need to have a really good eye and a really good ear for the space and knowing what equipment is out there because there's so much to choose from. And that's where this kind of groups and these kinds of relationships are really going to be valuable. Even for us, Blue Pisces is being kind of on the let's get things done, and you do this and you do that, and you're the developer and you're the low voltage guy. We kind of keep things going. We don't mind meetings so much. We just kind of try to keep short. But I'm hoping this is a really good idea. So we'll see how this goes. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, no, great. Thanks for coming, Ruben. Appreciate that as well. So I believe that's everybody who joined today. Thank you guys for doing that. Like I said, we are going to be putting this all into a SharePoint document. So you'll have access to it. You'll have an idea of what everybody does and all the contact information. And we are going to send out a recording of this as well. But Mehdi, do you want to share the document, the SharePoint document, so we can see kind of where we're at on it so they have an idea?
I think it's actually my SharePoint that it's loaded in. So,
Oh, it is? Okay.
Mehdi, do you want me to load it or do you got it? I think there's going to be a quiet go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. My
there you go.
SharePoint is not loading right now.
Yeah. Cloud-based, blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't have to be SharePoint. It could be a Dropbox. It could be just about anything. We care, we don't care. But really what we saw in the past is, of course, I said I had it, and then maybe I'm pulling up the wrong damn one.
There it is, up top.
Yep, thank you. We just had to reload. All right, so thank you, Jeff. The intention historically has been like, all right, and the guy I keep mentioning, Mike Renatos, used to work with me and a lot of the folks here on the call. He's now at Stare and Distribution, which many of you will buy through. So Mike is still around, but he used to have to summarize the notes, send them out, and then remind Randy where a price list was, and before the cloud, as it were. But now we're intending on going something like this. You all will get, those of you who choose, I want to be in the in group versus the I know about you group. So again, there's a fork in the road. How much are you going to participate? Do you want your information to be public? You'll get access to a SharePoint akin to something like this, where then in the skills and services, you'll get to list your documents, your PDFs, your superpowers. The rules of engagement, Jeff sent out a version and kind of the orientation, but it's the, you fix a price, you sign an MOU between each other. We're not formally contracting services, but we do meet and look at each other, see if we're passing the blush test. So some of the don't be a jerk principles will go into that rules of engagement. And there's a price list. If I do something special, which, we all think most of what I do is special, but if I'm really doing something that you need and it's special, let's put a price list up there so that I can go in, create my customer bid without needing your help to create my customer bid. So we want to up the game a little bit and make sure we list our labor rates. Not every market is the same. We know we're going to adjust for an LA install that's going to be different than a rural Georgia install. but we benchmark some pricing on the labor rates against kind of what Herman AV, Almo AV, some of the outsourced AV companies do, and Field Nations. And so we know that a senior tech or a programmer is different than a screwdriver guy or gal. So skills-based labor routing will go up here. And then the did you know or the things you want to discover kind of, as we get to future meetings, and there's 20 of us in here. Today's meeting was introduction heavy and orientation heavy. Future meetings will be more like, all right, your stuff is up on the Discover. Go figure out who Robert is, and then hit our agenda so we can get in and get out of these meetings before Takal starts to cringe by how long we're in meetings. Right. So the intention on some of this stuff is to have it be socialized online via a share site like this. There's going to be a documents page that's literally just a file folder. And then you can create your own page, your own locations. In that, if you've used SharePoint, you're like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock, you've already seen this. If you haven't used SharePoint, it's lipstick on a pig. It's a cover on top of a file folder, and it's fine. I think it's good enough for what we're trying to do here. If someone wants to create a whole consortium website that's easier to use and easier to navigate, go with God. You can have at it. But this is what we're going to do for the purpose of this, because it's easy, quick, and secure. Because we don't want any randos coming in and just pulling your labor rates. We want people we trust seeing this stuff. So, Jeff, that's it in a real big old nutshell, unless I missed something, sir.
Yeah, well, no, great. That's perfect. So yeah, like Randy said, we'll be following up with a few things. One is the recording of this. The other would be the SharePoint document that we're going to be sending out soon. And then we'll follow up with another meeting, probably late May, early June, something around that timeline. But before we wrap up and give you guys back the rest of the day, I did want to just briefly introduce Craig and Gary from DCS. Craig is our Chief Revenue Officer, and Gary is our CTO. Either of you guys want to share any pearls of wisdom before we head out?
I just understanding that, this group, I take a kind of a pragmatic approach and from use of time and benefit of, organizationally. One of the things that we can do as a collective is leverage each other's organizations and skills to put money in the bank for our respective organizations. So as each of us have partners, or rather customers, that we have captive that have demands, and just know that, at least my hope is that we can reach out to any of you on this call and have you represent us in a white label scenario and potentially drive revenue into your own pockets per se. So lots of capability here. This call, we basically can deliver just about anything to market that touches an IP. So good to know, good to be part of such a terrific group of companies and individuals. That's all I've got.
Great.
Yeah.
Gary, anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a great sounding board. Obviously, in my position, what I do is, in a lot of cases, I vet new technology and I come up with new ideas and solutions. And this is a fantastic group to say, hey, my customer needs this. This is unique. Have you run into this before? And this group can probably solve just about anything. So I think it's a perfect place for that too.
Great. Thanks for that, Gary.
We don't
Randy?
have a chat board or any function like that too. So the other thought that had come up in a historical consortium meeting is like the Reddit forum of a consortium. Like, have you thought about? We all have LinkedIn groups we can go to. We all have Reddit forums and Googling we can do. But there is also a correspondence cycle that could happen over email. So if you have an objection to having your email shared in this group, name it now, but otherwise we're going to post that so people can go in, find your email, and email you directly, because this is private, and sometimes you want to spitball something that you don't want to see on a Reddit channel, right? You don't want your customer to know you're fishing for an answer for a problem you've told them you can solve. So we want to be able to do this stuff privately. So
Right. Thanks for that, Randy. Okay, before we go, does anybody have anything else? Any questions they want to go over?
Needs for future meetings.
Yeah.
Stuff too.
as Randy said, there'll be more agenda driven going forward. This was more of a high level meeting for sure. Well,
We are going
all
to
right.
do a DCS PVC will be doing a neat kind of an AV tool that a lot of us know. We're going to be doing a webinar with NEAT in May that you all will get an invite to. We're also willing to help you put on your own webinars if you want to have a topic going. So sort of the marketing stuff that we do will benefit us all. So we did one with Logitech this past month. We're doing one with NEAT next month, and there's a machinery related to those webinars that then leads to our SEO scoring. That's how Ruben found us. It's because we ended up by doing that stuff, and he was searching for an AV shop that would fit X needs. Our keywords got him to us, right? And it's all about optimizing that type of content. So it will help your business, even if you just participate in our webinars and post them.
Fantastic. Great. All right, everybody. Well, that's it for today. I'll give you the rest of the time back, and look forward to working with you guys on this and growing all of our businesses over 2024.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. It's
All
nice to
right,
meet
enjoy.
everybody.
Good
Thank
meeting
you,
you.
everyone.